Oh, hello guys. It's ILT Trackmaster, and I'm gonna be showing you the behind the scenes of Sodor episode 2, the first days. So, enjoy. Now, there are some people gonna be saying, wait, is this a deleted scene? Yes, this is a deleted scene from the video. It was when Edward was were to go over to Henry, and Edward would say, "Oh, hello, what's your name?" And they would just have a conversation. But the reason I shooted it in Take and Play is because, well, at that time, my Edward wasn't modified with paper static side rods, and I just didn't want to use an Edward that had inaccurate side rods because it looked terrible. And this scene was cut from the video just to shorten down the runtime. And the newest thing from this video was realistic background. So I finally made it. I made it from Tomy trees and Lego green platforms and green cardboard with paper all over it. Now this is a very iconic shot. This is a shot from the intro in the beginning of the video, but it's not how you remember it. The camera is placed at a different angle, and Henry is on track that's tilted. Yeah, I had to reshoot the scene because I hated the crooked track. And this scene was a pain to make. I mean, people were gonna say, it's very simple to make. But I wanted to pull the Henry with a string. And the Henry had terrible traction tires. And this is a raised section of track, so you couldn't pull the coaches up. So I decided to pull him with a string. But after this style of scene was shot, I did it without the string. And the way the next style of scene was made was I would have one hand on one side and the other hand on another side, and I would push the train up, and then when Henry passed the camera, I would just move my hand and watch the train go. Skip to 5:21 if you don't want to see this. It's pretty obvious why this scene was not in the final video. So, what's happening here is the thing that makes steam for my videos was not working properly. It would stop after a few seconds. And besides, Henry was in maintenance. There was really no need for steam effects anyway. This is my favorite scene of the video. This was shot around the Action Canyon. because that had 2 tracks and I really liked that. And the reason these 2 scenes did not make it into the first video is because they didn't have the car in the position I wanted. I wanted the car to like pass the engines, but since something was holding up the background, I couldn't make the car go and come into the scene at the right time. But when I realized that the background didn't need any support to hold it up, I made the car go that way. And yes, there is another deleted scene from this video. This scene was shot before the Vigerstown scene, where Henry was sitting in the rain and he was very upset. Now the reason I reshot the scene because this is a random station in the countryside. This isn't where Vigerstown is. Vigerstown is on the other side of the island, in a bustling city. So, that scene really did not make a lot of sense in the context of where Henry was supposed to be. Also, the piece of paper that made Henry's tenders symmetrical fell off. Also, once I made Henry go into the tunnel, I filmed the scenes behind the tunnel first. Like the passengers trying to push him out of the tunnel, the train coming, and trying to push Henry out of the tunnel. Now, you might be wondering why I didn't shoot it in the correct order. Well, that was because I didn't want the background to look different once the camera came back to behind the tunnel. Because I would have had to move all the scenery behind the tunnel to the front of the tunnel when I started filming there, which means it would have looked very different when it came back. Now, this scene was supposed to be him making fun of Henry as he passed by the tunnel, but it was cut out to shorten down the runtime, and also because I think the scene kind of looked awful. This is also a very iconic shot. This is part of the new intro, but as you can see, the trains are moving much slower than they did in the intro. Well, that was because I really didn't like how slow they were moving, so I sped up the footage. And also the flying kipper part of the intro was a very hard one to make, because I had to put up the fence post every time I did the crash. And also I just couldn't get it to look right.